Yes. It's been a great day and a little more than a day and a half of competition, and I'm very proud to have directed this to this point. We have two very worthy competitors in our final. We have the Liberal Arts and Science Academy A team from Austin, Texas, on your left. And on your right, we have the Adlai E Stevenson High School A team from Lincolnshire, Illinois. Finals reader is Ike Jose from the University of Illinois. Nick Karras from Cal Berkeley is your scorekeeper. Board scorer, Mr. Fred Morlan, University of Kentucky. I have a short formality to announce before this game. As has been the case in the past in the final, because the score can affect strategy, we will be handling protests in a slightly different fashion. This is a variance with the rule book. I am overriding the rule book because I'm the tournament director. If you wish to appeal the tournament director's overriding the rule book, you can appeal to the tournament director. The protest will be handled in the following fashion. The protest committee is seated within the room. They will record both teams' accounts of a protest live in written form. In the first half, the protest will sit until halftime when the resolution will be announced. In the second half, the protest will be ruled on either live, so the game will be stopped, the protest decided very quickly, and the resolution announced, or at the nearest possible juncture if the protest cannot be ruled on live in a practical fashion, which means they will consider the protest while the game goes on. At a stop, they will stop the game and announce the protest resolution and change its scoring. Is that clear to everyone, both teams and both coaches? Okay, great luck. Yes, question, sir.
Are both of us allowed to participate in protests?
Yes. The official coach may lodge protests, but at stop the play, so either of you can speak to this game.
Correct. The question was, are both LASA's head coach and assistant coach able to participate in protests? Well, okay. Whatever. am I wrong somehow? Whatever. The answer is the head coach may lodge protests and no one else other than head coach or players, and assistant coaches may participate in protests but not lodge them. Okay. Any other questions before we start? Great. I will butt out and go do my job. Good luck to you, gentlemen.
Let's start with a buzzer check for LASA A.
That's a good idea.
Please say your name as well.
Fred.
Yes.
John. Corey.
Stevenson. If my reading is too loud or unclear anytime, feel free to ask me to slow down. And if possible, please speak into the microphone so that the audience can hear. Okay. Are both teams ready to start with toss-up one? Okay, here we go. The topography of this location led to the development of the Coiler Depressing Gun Carriage. This territory contains Gorham's Cave, one of the last habitations of the Neanderthals. This territory is administered from an old Franciscan building known as the Convent. According to legend, this location's bottomless St. Michael's Cave allowed the arrival of its population of Barbary macaques. Over 30 miles of defensive tunnels run through an iconic limestone monolith in this territory. Gibraltar is correct for 10. Bonus. This kingdom's second war with Britain was concluded by the Treaty of Mangalore after the sudden death of Hyder Ali. For 10 points each, identify this kingdom ruled from Seringapatam by Tipu Sultan. Answer? Srivijay is incorrect. Mysore is correct. A 1799 siege of Seringapatam was justified by rumors that Tipu Sultan had signed an alliance with this country, whose chief outpost in India was located upon the Cherry. This country's control of India declined after the Battle of Plassey. France is correct. Tipu Sultan owned a life-size automaton that depicted Tamil secessionist militant group on Sri Lanka is nicknamed for these animals?
Tiger.
Tiger is good for 20 points and 10 points on the scale. This is toss-up 2. This quantity is roughly constant along a streamline when the Mach number is less than 0.3. When this quantity doesn't change within a fluid, the continuity equation in the Euler equations has only one term. Density is good for 20. Answer the following about literary trips to India for 10 points each. Adele Cressida and Ms. Moore are guided around India by Dr. Aziz in this author's novel A Passage to India. He also wrote A Room with a View. Forster is good. The protagonist takes a vacation to India after a business trip to Thailand and the Temple of Dawn, which is an entry in this 4-part series of novels by Yukio Mishima that begins with spring snow. Sea of Fertility is correct. Writer Suketu Mehta chronicled giving up his life in this American city to Mumbai for 2 years in his book Maximum City. In Jumbo Lahiri's story, The Interpreter of Maladies, Mr. Das is a science teacher in this city who visits India with his family. Albany is incorrect. San Francisco is incorrect. It's New York City, so that would be 20 points for Stevenson. This is toss-up 3. In this play, a man imagines that humans actually have 100 senses, 95 of which keep working after we die. A governess performs card tricks and ventriloquism at a party in this play, during which an idealistic character storms out and falls down the stairs. In this play, a man who often shouts out billiards terms. The Cherry Orchard is good for 20. For 10 points each, answer the following about computational complexity. This class contains all problems whose solutions are verifiable in polynomial time on a deterministic Turing machine. It is an open question as to whether or not it is equal to its non-deterministic counterpart, NP. The computational complexity class BPP contains problems such as polynomial identity testing, which are solvable by one of these algorithms in polynomial time. These algorithms, such as the Metropolis-Hastings method, sample from an unknown distribution. Answer?
Factorization.
Factorization is incorrect. Monte Carlo is good. The first problem, shown to be NP-complete, asks whether or not one of these formulas can be satisfied. In these formulas, variables can be assigned a value of 1 or 0. Answer? Boolean is good for 20 points and 10 points on the scale. This is toss-up 4. In the Dionysiaca, members of this group smear their faces with chalk and devour Zagreus whole. In the Orphic cosmogony, humanity was created from the dust of this group after they were killed by lightning. As a reward for being the first to swear opposition to this group, oaths made on the river Styx became unbreakable. Mount Othrys served as the Titans is good for 20 points. Bonus. This man joined the New York City Ballet in the late 1940s, where he worked on largely plotless works, such as Dances at a Gathering. For 10 points each, name this man who designed the dances in the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, The King and I, as well as the dances for Fiddler on the Roof. Balanchine is incorrect. It's Jerome Robbins. Jerome Robbins was known for his work in this art, which focuses on designing the movements of dancers in a dance sequence. Its name comes from the Greek for writing the dance. Choreography is good. Jerome Robbins also choreographed this musical, which is a loose adaptation of Romeo and Juliet set in New York City. It depicts two rival gangs named the Sharks and the Jets.
West Side Story.
West Side Story is good for 20 points. This is toss-up 5. Bernhard Wiener developed a theory of this process. Brownian motion is incorrect. A theory of this process to explain academic success and failure. Harold Kelly proposed the 3 factors of consistency, distinctiveness, and consensus that affect this process in his covariation model, which explores how observers make causal inferences. An in-group negatively views the actions of an out-group according to the ultimate error of this process. Lee Ross commented on a paper by Jones and Harris about biases in this process. That paper described subjects reading essays about Fidel Castro. People place too much importance on internal characteristics of actors, like personality traits, according to the fundamental error of this process. For 10 points, name this process of explaining the causes of people's behavior. Attribution is good for 10. In her book, This Changes Everything, Naomi Klein argues capitalist solutions are incapable of addressing this problem. For 10 points each, name this phenomenon of rising average temperatures as a result of man-made carbon emissions.
Global warming.
Global warming is right. One debate in climate change economics concerns the proper value for this quantity, the rate at which future payoffs are reduced in present value. It is often set equal to the interest rate.
Okay, I don't know what to ask.
Answer?
Depreciation rate.
Depreciation rate is incorrect. All right, time. The answer is discount rate. A proposed solution for limiting carbon is this system of giving producers a fixed amount of carbon allowances which they can exchange. By changing the number of allowances, the government can raise the private cost of emission to match the social cost.
Yeah. Cap and trade.
Cap and trade is good for 20 points. This is toss-up 6. A type of equation denoted by this adjective is often solved using the H principle or the method of characteristics and is exemplified by the Helmholtz equation. The commutativity of an operation denoted by this adjective is guaranteed if the resulting functions are continuous, according to Clairaut's.
Partial.
Partial is good for 20 points. Sodium ethoxide reacts with ethyl chloride to form diethyl ether in an SN2 Williamson synthesis. For 10 points each, in the reaction, sodium ethoxide uncharacteristically acts as a nucleophile rather than this type of compound. These compounds accept protons from solution in the Bronsted-Lowry definition.
Base.
Base is good. The Williamson synthesis usually doesn't involve a Walden inversion because the substrate has this property. Molecules with this property are molecules with this property are optically inactive.
Achiral.
Achiral is right. In the reaction, the electrons on the ethoxide attack this kind of orbital for the carbon-chlorine bond. On a molecular orbital bonding diagram, they are the orbitals highest in energy.
Antibonding.
Antibonding is good for 30. This is toss-up 7. Otto III traveled to Gniezno to retrieve the relics of Adalbert, a bishop from this city who was martyred in 997. The freedom to confess the holy word was one of 4 articles issued from this city by the Utraquists, who held this city. Prague is good for 20 points. Perennialism is the belief that all the world's religions are based on a common core truth. For 10 points each, this British novelist advocated perennialism in an anthology called The Perennial Philosophy. He also described his spiritual experiences on mescaline in The Doors of Perception. Huxley is correct. Like Huxley, many perennialists were inspired by this Hindu school's Advaita sub-school, which teaches that Atman is Brahman. This school is based on the Upanishads and takes its name from the 4 key texts of early Hinduism. Answer, please. Veda's incorrect. It's Vedanta. Some perennialist beliefs resemble tenets of this monotheistic religion founded in 19th century Persia, which holds that God reveals religious truth through a series of divine messengers. Answer? Baha'i is good for 20 points. This is toss-up A. The speaker of a poem by this author tells a man that sometimes perhaps you don't want to be a part of me, and states, I like a pipe for Christmas or records. Another poem by this author imagines a tomorrow when nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen. Hughes is good for 20 points. Bonus. An owl sits on the shoulder of a woman holding a pewter mug in this artist's painting, Male Babe. For 10 points each, famous artist, also known for his group portraiture, such as his paintings of the regents and regentesses of the old men's almshouse. His The Laughing Cavalier depicts a man smiling, not laughing. Answer? No, Van Dyke's incorrect. Halls is correct. Born in Antwerp, Franz moved to Haarlem in this modern-day country during its golden age. Jan Vermeer painted a view of Delft, a city in this country, in 1660. Netherlands is good. This other artist of the Dutch Golden Age painted lively family scenes, such as the Feast of St. Nicholas, in which a boy is crying because the only gift he's received is a lousy birch rod. Answer? Van Dijk is incorrect. That is incorrect. It is Jan Steen. So that's 10 points each. This is toss-up 9. This event might have occurred earlier if the United States had properly read signals about journalist Edgar Snow being included in a parade. The man who instigated this week that changed the world sent messages through Yahya Khan of Pakistan prior to it. During this event, the National Zoo in Washington was gifted 2 new. Nixon visiting China is good for 20 points. This Athenian statesman chose to build a fortified port at Piraeus, which was effectively responsible for converting Athens into a naval power. For 10 points each, and this politician who commanded the Athenian navy at the battles of Artemisium and Salamis. Themistocles is correct. The Battle of Artemisium was fought at the same time as this land battle, during which Leonidas and his Spartans fended off the armies of Xerxes before being slaughtered. Thermopylae is good. Themistocles was ostracized after the Spartans implicated him in the treasonous plot of this Spartan general who had earlier defeated Mardonius at the Battle of Plataea. He shares his name with a geographer who wrote a description of Greece. Answer, please. That's not right. Pausanias is good for 10 points on a steal and 20 points on the bonus overall for LASA. This is toss-up 10. In a painting made in this place, a woman wears a pink dress in contrast to the pareu worn by the woman seated to her left. A painting made in this place was inspired by the artist finding his wife immobile, naked, lying face downward flat on the bed. A painting made here, When Will You Marry, sold for 300. Tahiti is good for 20 points. Dover tells a story about this object in which a mob sets the train Yellow Dog on fire after it was stolen, for 10 points each. Name this object into which Willie Boyd carves images of his family. Bernice uses this thing to remove the spirits haunting her home at the conclusion of the play about it. Answer, please? The glass is incorrect. Time. The answer is the piano from the piano lesson. The history of the piano figures heavily into this author's play, The Piano Lesson. Other plays from his Pittsburgh cycle include Radio Golf. Wilson is correct. Troy Maxson, a former baseball player, works as a trash collector in this other play by August Wilson, which partly centers on Troy's son Corey winning a college football scholarship. Fences is good for 20. That's the half. At the half, we have LASA A at 250 and Stevenson A at 170. Are both teams ready to continue with the second half? Okay, audience, please be quiet. We are continuing the match. All right, this is going to be toss-up 11. An essay mocking the style of character criticism by L.C. Knights sardonically asks how many children had this character.
Lady Macbeth.
Lady Macbeth is good for power, 20 points. Though not tears, this substance contains active hydrolases like lysozyme, which kills bacteria. For 10 points each, name this watery substance produced by the parotid, sublingual, and submandibular glands, which helps in the digestion of food. Saliva is good. This hydrolase found in saliva is critical for breaking down starches into glucose. It was the first enzyme to be characterized. Amylase is correct. Metabolism of lipids, on the other hand, is trickier and requires both lipases and these compounds, most of which are derivatives of cholic acid. These compounds, which are formed by oxidizing cholesterol, allow fatty acids to aggregate into micelles. Answer, please. Steroids is incorrect. That's time. I'm sorry. It's bile acids is the answer, but that was not in time. That is 20 points on the bonus. And this is going to be toss-up 12. This concept fills empty spaces and is not governed by the soul's laws, according to a Simone Weil book pairing it with gravity. Eastern Christianity holds that this concept can be found in the uncreated energies of the light of the transfiguration. The prevenient form of this concept in Arminianism saves people from total depravity, while Calvinism holds that the elect are saved by the irresistible form of grace. Grace is good for 10 points. Bonus. For 10 points each, answer the following about a book of verse called Tottle's Miscellany, which first appeared in print in 1557. It is considered the first English language example of one of these collections of poetry, whose name comes from the Greek word for garland or collection of flowers. These compilations often consist of works by several different authors. Anthology is good. Many of the poems in Tottle's Miscellany have this 14-line form. William Shakespeare wrote 154 of these poems. Sonnet is correct. Tottle's Miscellany contains the verses of this English poet, who's credited with inventing the English sonnet form. His poem, Whoso Was the Hunt, may be an allegory by his love for Anne Boleyn. Answer, please. De Vere is wrong. The correct answer is Thomas Wyatt. So there's 20 points on the bonus for LASA A. This is toss-up 13. This molecule is produced along with carbon black in the Wiener process and along with carbon monoxide in the CPOX partial oxidation process. When exposed to atmospheric moisture, reducing agents like lithium aluminum hydride produce this compound. Its liquid form is stored at its boiling point of 20 Kelvin. This molecule is the lightest component of syngas. H2 is good for 20 points. The prosecutor in this case was particularly upset that the defendant believed that man evolved not even from American monkeys, but from old world ones, for 10 points each, in this 1925 case that concerned the teaching of the theory of evolution. Scopes monkey trial is correct. During the Scopes trial, Clarence Darrow called this man, the prosecution's lawyer, to the stand and asked him questions about the creation of Eve. This man died 5 days after the trial. Brian is good. Brian played a role in both the growth of the Christian fundamentalism movement and this other Protestant movement, also led by Washington Gladden. This movement sought to improve the conditions of industrial society through Christian teachings. Social gospel for 30. The score up there may be incorrect. We'll rectify it. We're going to keep going. This is toss-up 14. The last king of these people was temporarily exiled to St. Helena in 1890 and later supported these people's failed Mambatha rebellion. Nathaniel Isaacs sent a letter to Henry Francis Finn urging him to make his account of these people more bloody to attract readers. A group of commandos under Andries Pretorius defeated a large. Zulus is good for power. After a gadfly prevented this man from ascending to Mount Olympus, this man lived out his days as a crippled beggar wandering across the plain of Allion. For 10 points each, name this man who was falsely accused of making advances on the Tyrrhenian queen Stenoboa, which prompted her husband King Peritus to try to have him killed. He later accomplished a number of feats with the help of Pegasus. Bellerophon is correct. Prometheus attempted to ensure Bellerophon's death by sending him to fight this fire-breathing monster with the heads of a goat and a lion and a snake for a tail. Chimera is correct. In the Iliad, this man recounts the story of Bellerophon to his opponent Diomedes, after which they stopped fighting and swapped armor. He shares his name with a sea god who gained immortality after eating a magic herb. Answer? Ajax is incorrect. Glaucus is good for 10 points on the steal and 20 points for Stevenson. This is toss-up 15. This composer used a theme from Handel's Harpsichord Suite No. 1 in a set of 25 variations for solo piano. His late works... Rachmaninoff is incorrect. His late works include a series of clarinet pieces for Richard Muleville and a set of 11 chorale preludes for organ. His violin concerto is the last major piece of its time to have the soloist improvise a cadenza, though most performances use the one by its dedicatee, Joseph Joachim. This composer quoted drinking songs such as What Comes There From On High and Gaudeamus Igitur. Brahms is good for 10. This woman embarrasses her husband's aunt by pretending to mistake her hat for a servant's. For 10 points each, name this woman who responds to Judge Brecht's attempts to blackmail her over the death of Ada Lovewell by shooting herself with a pistol. Hedda Gabler is good. Hedda Gabler was created by this realist Norwegian playwright who also wrote A Doll's House and An Enemy of the People. Ibsen is correct. This other Ibsen play also ends with a suicide by pistol, and this is committed by Hedwig in the loft of her family's apartment. Wild Duck for 30. We found a typo in one of our upcoming bonuses, and we decided to rectify it now, which is why we caused the name as well.
About 380, 250, right?
With 5 toss-ups remaining, LASA A has 380, and Stevenson has 250. Stevenson A. Are both teams ready to continue to toss-up 16? Okay. Toss-up 16. Watchtowers in Corsica were built by a Genoese of one of these institutions named for St. George. A group best known for operating these institutions also created the world's first civil housing project in Augsburg, where the Hochsteters and the Welsers also ran places of this type. The Lombard variety of these institutions, like the Franciscan Mounts of Piety, were based around pawnbroking. The election of Charles V was supported by one of the... Bank is good for 10 points. Presidential candidates campaigning in this state will often stop for photo ops next to the butter cow at its state fair. For 10 points each, identify the state, the first of each presidential election cycle to hold a caucus.
Iowa.
Iowa is correct. Republican candidates in Iowa frequently make trips to this Midwest fast food chain, which advertises that it believes in the power of prayer. Mike Huckabee won Iowa 2008, in part by hard-selling patrons of this buffet chain from its free-to-use party rooms. Answer, please?
The Golden Corral.
Golden Corral is incorrect. That's time. It's the Pizza Ranch. I'm excited too, right? Another goal for politicians hoping to win Iowa is to earn an endorsement from this Des Moines newspaper. Aaron Selzer runs a highly respected poll of Iowa for this largest paper in the state. Answer, please? Register is good for 20 points. This is toss-up 17. Jaegwon Kim assumed that this relation is closed within the physical universe in his argument for reductionist physicalism, which seeks to explain how mental properties can be involved in this relation. David Lewis proposed a counterfactual theory of this phenomenon, which Mill's methods are tools for reasoning about. Occasionalists argue that the efficient type of this phenomenon is only possible through God. Cause is good for 10 points. Identify the following about NASA's advertising campaign to build excitement over the moon for 10 points each. This man helped the cause with frequent guest appearances on the Morlan segment of the Disneyland TV program. This German-born rocket scientist helped develop NASA's Saturn rockets after being appropriated from Nazi Germany in Operation Paperclip. Von Braun is correct. The Hasselblad company let the world know that astronaut William Anders used one of its cameras to take the iconic Earthrise photograph on this first manned mission to leave Earth's orbit. Gemini is incorrect. Apollo 8 is correct. To convince reluctant engineers to bring live TV equipment on the Apollo mission, NASA instructed this artist to include TV cameras in a popular lunar painting he made for Look magazine. The Treasury Department sponsored this artist's 4 Freedom series. Rockwell is good for 20 points, and that's 10 points in steel. Timeout. Current score is 420 to 280. All right, 30 seconds is up. We're going to begin the match with toss-up 18. All right, here we go, toss-up 18. The TEV protease, often used in protein purification, is extracted from a virus that infects this organism. The anti-Ebola drug ZMapp was cultured in this organism. The NNN and NNK nitrosamines specific to this organism cause DNA alkylation. Wendell Stanley crystallized a pathogen of this organism, which has a hollow helical structure that was studied by Rosalind. Tobacco is good for 20 points. This quantity is equal to mv squared over r. For 10 points each, name this acceleration that causes uniform circular motion. This acceleration is normal or perpendicular to the motion. Centripetal is good. If an object in circular motion changes its speed, this name is given to the acceleration associated with that change. In general, this adjective describes any acceleration that changes the speed of an object without changing its direction. Translational is incorrect. Perpendicular is incorrect. It is tangential. For a system in a rotating reference frame, the magnitude of the Coriolis force is equal to the negative magnitude of the cross product of the angular velocity and linear velocity times mass times this constant. Answer? Speed of light is incorrect. That's time. The answer is 2. 10 points on the bonus. This is toss-up 19. After snatching some chocolate from his sister's hands, this character runs away and never sees his mother or sister again. This character is surprised to learn how tiny a coral polyp is when his paperweight is shattered. Late in the book he appears in, this character is told the word you are trying to think of is solipsism after being informed we control the pack. Winston is good for 20 points. A politician from this family attempted to pass the Lex Sempronia Agraria, a plan to reform Roman latifundia. For 10 points each, name this family of Tiberius, a brother of Gaius, who was killed and thrown into the Tiber River after his reforms angered the Roman aristocracy. Gracchus is correct. The Lex Sempronia Agraria limited the amount of this resource a Roman citizen could own. This resource was measured using the unit of Ugerum, which consisted of a 240 by 120 foot area. Land is good. Tiberius Gracchus was killed by members of this group of politicians that represented the interests of the wealthy. Unlike the rival Populares, its members did not favor the People's Assemblies or the Democratic Tribune. Optimates for 30. Last toss-up. This artist got into a public debate about the gender of angels after a clergyman stated that one of his sculptures of angels for the Cathedral of St. John the Divine did not have a stern and masculine face. One of this artist's subjects is a nude man who has a sheathed dagger and can be found at the University of Virginia. That sculpture honors James McConnell, a pilot killed during World War I. This man's son, named Lincoln, finished his sculpture after he died. The climax of North by North. Borglum is good for 10 points. And your bonus. This composer used scordatura in his B minor solo cello sonata and used hand signs in his system of musical pedagogy for 10 points each. Then this composer of a folk opera whose title soldier impresses tavern goers with fanciful tales. This Hungarian depicted a Viennese musical clock in that work, Harry János. Kodály is correct. In the opera, Harry János defeats this man and wins the heart of his wife, Maria Luisa. Tchaikovsky's Aching Call Overture depicts Russia's defense against this man's invasion. Napoleon is correct. This large Central European incident plays a fast verbumcosh in the intermezzo of Kodály's Harry János' orchestral suite. Its coupled strings are struck with small mallets. Answer, please. Hurdy-gurdy is incorrect. It's the cymbalom, so that's 20 points on the last bonus.